Hello and welcome to the Webcast for Thursday, January 30th. I'm South Ops meteorologist Jonathan O'Brien. Visible satellite this morning shows a deep marine layer is in place. The cloud pattern is more uniform today than yesterday, with low clouds draped across most of the coasts and coastal valleys and back to the lower coastal slopes, this as light onshore flow continues. These clouds will be slow to clear and in some cases probably won't clear today, so that's going to mean another chilly winter day for the region. Here are today's forecast highs, and they are again similar to yesterday with upper 50s and low 60s pretty much across the board, and upper 30s and 40s in the lower mountains. Minimum humidity will again be mainly above 30% away from the drier deserts, with light onshore winds continuing. We continue to track changes in the weather soon, though. By this weekend, we'll see a strong ridge of high pressure attempting to build in out of the subtropics, while at the same time a deep polar trough drives its way into the Pacific Northwest. And in between these very different air masses, we'll be seeing some significant precipitation by the end of this week and well into next. As that subtropical ridge builds in, a warming trend is likely from Friday through the weekend. Low to mid-70s will return to many of the valleys by Sunday and Monday. Humidity will fall just slightly over Southern California Friday through Monday, but minimums will remain mainly in the 20 to 40% range. We'll also see some uptick in west to southwest winds over the mountain ridges and desert passes by this weekend and early next week. Winds of 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts to 40 miles per hour are likely over the west wind-prone corridors starting on Saturday, with higher winds across the Sierra Crest. We're also starting to get a better idea of the precipitation forecast as well. As advertised, in between those two very different air masses, we're going to see a strong and long-duration atmospheric river impact the west coast by this weekend and into early next week. Showers will begin overspreading central California north of a Monterey-Fresno County line on Friday. And it really looks like that's going to be the dividing line between the haves and have-nots for several days through at least Monday of next week, with frequent and often heavy rainfall along and north of that line, but very little to the south. Southern California will likely remain dry entirely through Monday or Tuesday. By the middle and end of next week, some precipitation is likely over SoCal, but light totals are currently favored as these atmospheric river systems usually lose quite a bit of steam once they start sagging southward. In terms of the amounts, it's really going to depend on where that heaviest axis of rainfall sets up. Here's a look at the latest forecast from the River Forecast Center through Tuesday night. As it looks now, most foothill and mountain locations north of that Monterey-Fresno County line will receive about 2 to 5 inches of rainfall, with an inch or less for the flatter coasts and valleys. But higher totals are possible if that heaviest axis of rainfall ends up a little further south than currently forecast. You can see some of those really big totals up over North Ops' area. And if I had to guess for Southern California south of Point Conception, by the end of next week, I'd expect most areas will probably see less than an inch of rainfall, and wouldn't be surprised if it's less than half an inch in many spots. Finally, this continues to look like a warm system. Here's the forecast freezing level on Sunday morning. Those yellow, orange, and red colors are all 8 to 10,000 foot or greater snow levels. The snow levels should gradually fall by the middle of next week, but overall this will probably go down as a warm storm, as you'll probably have to get above at least 7,500 or 8,000 feet for any major snowfall. We'll continue to see gradual drying of dead fuels over Southern California through early next week, but it will take quite a bit of time to dry things out given our recent moisture and the lack of any dry offshore winds, along with the moist soil present across most of the region, which will serve as a significant barrier to fire spread. Fuel moistures will rise sharply over much of central California starting on Friday as the rain moves in, and heavy precipitation will likely limit or prevent any prescribed firework from at least the Sierra National Forest northward from late Friday through at least much of next week. Large fire potential will remain very low through the forecast period. Some light initial attack is possible over Southern California with the warmer temperatures this weekend, but we still have quite a ways to go in terms of drying things out, and even just some light rainfall over SoCal later next week would help continue to keep fire activity subdued for a prolonged duration. That's it for today's webcast. Thanks for joining us. The next one will be on Friday, January 31st.